Yes, well, thank you for the invitation here. I'm at the Columbia Basin Rural Development Institute at Selkirk College to deliver an economic presentation. I'd like to start with the global economy, which has been rather weak since the global economic recession that we had in 08-09. We've seen rather sporadic, uneven performance, and that continues even to this day. China has slowed down. We've seen other Asian economies slow down. Europe as well is still feeling the aftermath of that great financial crisis. The U.S. economy, however, is showing signs of more sustained growth. And that's certainly positive for Canada, BC, and of course the Kootenays as well. We saw the plunge in oil prices. That's a very significant development from $100 oil down to about $50 oil. So that's there are winners and losers. Overall, it's a net benefit for the global economy. Obviously, it hurts oil producers, notably the Middle East, but also, of course, closer to home, Alberta. And what we're seeing in the Alberta economy is certainly affecting the Canadian economy, and that's one reason why, the main reason why, the Bank of Canada cut rates in mid-January to an attempt to stimulate the economy, generate higher inflation. So we're seeing the slowdown play out currently. We have a lower Canadian dollar, partly as a result of these oil prices declining, but also because of weaker growth prospects in Canada relative to the U.S. But that's a positive for us. That's the U.S. economy growing at a faster pace is also positive. So I'm optimistic that over time the export sector will generate more growth. That's good for Canada, BC, and the Kootenays as well. Now, clearly other factors come into play. When it comes to the Kootenay region, mining is important, and markets like China, South Korea, Japan, when it comes to metallurgical coal, that market is going to remain on the weak side for another year or two, but over time should pick up. On the forestry side, we see and expect the U.S. housing market to improve. Housing starts to pick up. And that will have some obviously benefits for BC and the Kootenay forestry sector. Pulp and paper, I see holding on to its recent gains. It's been rather flat. I don't see any substantial pickup until the global economy really generates higher growth, probably in the next 2 to 4 years, I would think. We have record low interest rates, which means the housing market is also beginning to show some signs of life. We have seen some pretty good numbers come out from the major metropolitan areas in Canada, but in the Kootenays as well. I have seen the numbers are showing some improvement in housing sales. Housing prices are still flat, but over time, as we see these sales activity pick up, which I think it will, then housing prices should begin to make some modest gains at least. I think overall the business environment for the Kootenay region, I'm looking for continuation of modest growth. Which is what we've seen really for the past several years. The changes that we've seen in the Kootenay economic base, forestry, mining sector, the contraction, the consolidation we've seen there has really changed the strength of the Kootenay region economy. So that's not going to change materially anytime soon. So I think we'll see a business environment that's sort of modest to moderate growth. We're seeing population growth reflect the state of the economy. Population growth has either been slightly negative or maybe slightly positive. So essentially kind of flattish. We see outmigration of younger age groups play out, so I think overall the Kootenay region economy expect some modest growth. I think, and of course there are differences within the Kootenay region as well. I see the Kootenay boundary region, particularly the West Kootenays, probably weaker. The East Kootenays, given that they do have a more substantial economic base on the mining and forestry side, I think there the pickup will also be reasonably good, although their Alberta influence on their housing market in the Fernie into the Gold and Invermere, that is obviously going to be quite negative. So pluses and minuses will be playing out for the Kootenay region. And I just want to thank you very much for the invitation, and my pleasure to be here. And my copy of my presentation is also available for you to delve into greater detail.